Bawat araw, tayo'y humaharap sa mga nangyayari sa lipunan. Mga pangyayari na nakakaapekto sa ating lahat. Mga pangyayari na kailangan tayong makialam. Kaya nabuo ang programang ito, Issue 101. Tumatalakay sa mga issue ng ating lipunan. Mga issue na dapat nating pakialaman. Mga issue na may malaking kaugnayan sa ating kapaligiran. At mga issue na may kaugnayan sa ating gobyerno. Issue 101. Narito ang inyong tagapagsalita. Issue 101.
You're with Senior Simo.
Senior Simo. Senior Simo. Issue 101.
Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Buong bansa buong Pilipinas, buong mundo na may Pilipino. Welcome sa isa namang episode ng ating palatuntunan ng
Issue 101.
araw ngayon na Linggo, March 22, 2026. Sunday mga guys, kumusta po kayong lahat dyan? Umaasa ako na nasa mabuti po kayong kalagayan at malulusog inyong pangatuan. Welcome po ulit dito sa ating palatuntunan ng
Issue 101.
kung saan tatalakayin natin sa episode na ito mga kaisyo, sa naging mga pahayag ni House of Representatives or HOR Committee on Justice Chairman Congresswoman Gerville Luistro. Nagmistula ng Kangaroo Court ang nasabing komitiba. Kasi mga kaisyo, marami ang pahayag ng naturang chairman ng House Committee on Justice na kung saan nagpapakita na kung gaano kakapalan ang ginawa ng komitiba na yan para lang patakbuhin ang impeachment proceeding ni Vice President Sara Duterte na may tuturing po natin na isang Kangaroo Court ang naturang komitiba. Pero bago po natin umpisahan ang ating talakayan, huwag po kalimutan na mag-like sa video na to. I-click nyo po ang subscribe button at ang notification bell sana all para kayo mapapalahanan kung sakasakaling tayo may live stream katulad nito. At huwag po din yung kalimutan na i-follow nyo po at like ang ating Facebook fan page na Senior Simon 101. Pati na rin ang ating X account na at Senior Simon 101. Kaya't huwag na po tayong magpaligoy-ligoy pa. Umpisahan na natin ang ating talakayan dito sa ating palatuntunan ng kasama po inyong ligo na si
Senior Simo. Senior Simo.
Okay mga kaisyo, so ito ang interview ni Congresswoman at House Committee Chairman ng Committee on Justice na si Congressman Gerville Luistro. Kung dito mga kaisyo, inilahad niya ang karaniwan niyang sagot sa mga interview sa kanya na may kaugnayan sa impeachment proceeding laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte, na kung saan dito matutuklasan po natin mga kaisyo na kung ano ang pinaggagawa ng Committee on Justice na ito na may tuturing po natin na labag na sa proper proceeding on hearing cases mga kaisyo, na makikita po natin na sila na ang prosecutor ay hindi na po tinimbang ng mabuti ang aligasyon, ang depensa at ang mga ebidensya. Sila na kaya ang naging tagahatol dito sa impeachment na imbis ang proper forum na kung saan doon dinggin itong impeachment mga kaisyo laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte ay itong Senado as impeachment court. Pero sa pangyayari ngayon mga kaisyo, makikita natin na ang ginagawa nitong House Committee on Justice na ito ay para ng Kangaroo Court. Ito, panoorin natin itong interview sa kanya mga kaisyo.
Filed the third impeachment complaint against Vice President Duterte has filed before the House Justice Committee a manifestation of waiver to file a reply to Duterte's consolidated response, which the complainants called a non-answer. Well, joining us now in the program, the chairperson of the House Justice Committee, Congressman Gerville Luistro. Congressman, thanks for taking our call. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, and good afternoon to all the viewers.
All right, so the Vice President there submitting her reply ad cautelam, basically saying as well that there's nothing to answer while questioning the constitutionality and, according to them, the non-conform or uniformity of the process by
So
which...
itong interview na to mga ka-issue ay noong 5 araw ang nakalipas pagkatapos na ideklara nitong committee na ito ng House Committee on Justice na sufficient in grounds. Okay? Atin na po yung pinag-usapan sa isang video natin mga ka-issue tungkol sa pag-aproba ng komitibang ito, ng Kangaroo Court na ito mga ka-issue, na sufficient in grounds daw yung complaint laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte.
The committee had, or the committee had, when it came to the president's impeachment complaint and also the vice president's. So where do you go from here? First, let's begin with that. Now that you have the vice president's reply, and then we'll go through each and everything that her legal counsel said. Go ahead, Congresswoman.
All right, so for clarity, the one that was filed by the respondent yesterday, we call that answer, no? At kagaya po ng comment ng ibang mga members ng Justice, I find it not responsive to the allegations in the complaint. So it is as
Kung si Luistro, itong bias na Kangaroo Court na ito mga ka-issue, ang magsasabi hindi daw sumagot ng maayos ang kampo ni Vice President Sara Duterte through her lawyers. Bakit ko po sinabi na itong si chairwoman ng Committee on Justice na si Congresswoman Luistro ay isang head ng Kangaroo Court dahil mga ka-issue ay mayroon siyang possible ano tawag dito? Mayroon siyang or mayroong akusasyon laban sa kanya at mga karamihan ng kasapi ng komitiba na yan mga ka-issue, sangkot sila sa pagtanggap ng mga maletang pera. So they don't have the credibility to handle this case mga ka-issue, lalo na itong si Luistro na sabi ni Vice President Sara Duterte, sabi ng kampo ni Vice President Sara Duterte ay may utang sa law firm ng asawa ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Di po ba mga ka-issue? So it will end up, or ang masasabi po natin ng mga karaniwang taong bayan ay hindi objective ang mga desisyon nitong komitiba na to, and of course ang mga statement nitong chairman ng Kangaroo Court mga ka-issue na tinatawag nating Committee on Justice ng House of Representatives hindi objective kasi mismo si Luistro ay may akusasyon na tumatanggap ng pera na mali-malitang pera mga ka-issue, at dagdag pa niyan mga ka-issue ay yung tudo papuri niya kay dating Speaker Romualdez na kung wala daw si Speaker, walang AX, walang tupad, walang akap.
if the allegations in the complaint stands. Supposedly, from receipt of the answer, the complainant has a period of 3 calendar days to file their reply. But as reported, this morning, they already filed with the House, with the committee, a manifestation that they will not be filing an answer to the answer, or they will not be filing a reply. With that, it means that the impeachment complaints, at least from my level, is considered submitted for the purpose of determination of sufficient ground that supports the impeachment complaint. No? This coming Wednesday or tomorrow, that is March 18, we'll be having a hearing that is intended for preliminary matters, no? Like our discussion on the motion for issuance of subpoena of bank records, our discussion on the transfer of custody of Ramil Madriaga, as requested by Congressman Chel Jokno, all right? But for the purpose of the determination of sufficient ground, I think with that manifestation of the complainant that they will not be filing, especially if the other complainant will have the same manifestation, because I haven't checked this with the House, no? Kung parehas silang hindi magfa-file ng reply, I think the Justice Committee, in addition to the discussion of preliminary matters, will be ready to determine the sufficiency of ground that supports the impeachment complaint. No? After the determination of sufficient ground, that triggers actually the start of the hearing proper. As a matter of fact, the reason why we wish to discuss ahead of time the preliminary matters is
Okay, correction. So hindi pa pala ito noong pagbobotohan sa sufficiency in grounds. Pero dito mga kaisyo, makikita po natin na kahit wala po silang matibay na ebidensya na tama yung sagot ng ad cotelem ng mga abogado ni Vice President Sara Duterte na tinanong nila na walang ultimate facts doon sa mga ebidensyang inilabas mga kaisyo na umuugnay kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Katulad noong yung akusasyon na tumanggap siya ng or binusa niya yung confidential funds. Kasi that is the ultimate fact sana na mag-ugnay kay Vice President Sara Duterte na yung confidential funds ay si Vice President Sara Duterte ang nakabenepisyo na binusa niya yung pera ng taong bayan.
in order to avoid discussions of the same antecedent concerns prior to hearing proper. Gusto namin, if indeed there is sufficient ground, we wish to start the hearing proper and to focus indeed to the presentation of evidence and witnesses. So, with that development, Carmina, the least I can say, walang reply. If both complainants will maintain the position that they will not be filing a reply, I think the Justice Committee is ready.
Kasi mga kayo, bakit sinabi dito ni Luistro na walang reply? Dahil pag walang reply, di ba, nagpahayag siya na mas madali ang pagdinig sa House Committee on Justice sa impeachment complaint laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte kung hindi magre-reply. So ito mga kaisyo, diniklara nitong si Luistro na chairman ng Kangaroo Court na walang reply para mas lalong bibilis ang maging hearing dahil wala na silang pagdidibatihan pa. Nasabi niya dito na sa hearing hindi pwedeng magsalita ang mga abogado ni Vice President Sara Duterte kundi mismo si Vice President Sara Duterte ang dadalo sa kanilang hearing at sasagot at hindi ang kanyang mga abogado.
To proceed to the determination of the existence of sufficient ground.
And all that is going to happen tomorrow, Wednesday, March 18th. But you're going to stop there. Will the hearing proper necessarily begin tomorrow as well, or are you going to save that for another day?
I am inclined not to proceed to hearing proper for tomorrow because I think that it is necessary that we notify as well the respondent if we will start the hearing proper already. For tomorrow, that will be a hearing intended only for the justice members because we intend to have a discussion on motions, for issuance of subpoena, transfer of custody, ground rules, the conformity or authority that we need from the plenary to be able to hold hearing during recess, and even the declaration of sufficient ground. These are matters that concern only the justice members. But for purposes of the hearing proper, where the presentation of witnesses and evidence will happen, we need to notify the respondent, who this time is the Vice President.
Is it a foregone conclusion then, Congressman Luistro, that this will proceed? That there will be a finding of sufficiency in the grounds, right? In the ground. And this will ultimately proceed towards the start of the hearing proper.
The list I can say, Carmina, because I do not want to preempt what will happen in tomorrow's meeting, but the list I can say, the allegations in the complaint, for me stands. Because the answer that was filed by the Vice President never addressed the offenses and the grounds which were alleged in the complaint. So for me, the allegation stands, no? But of course, for the purpose of determining sufficient ground that supports the impeachment complaint, this will be done by way of a motion, which, if objected to, will be subjected to voting. So the required number of vote here is simple majority, which means 1/2 + 1, so long as a quorum is present and established.
Congressman, do you think that this was a missed opportunity from the camp of the Vice President to answer? Because what they did was, and some would say this is classic Duterte, they attacked the very process and not really answered per item of what was being alleged. Congresswoman.
For me, yes, it's a missed opportunity because if they responded to the allegation.
Missed opportunity. Pero ang totoo niyan mga kaisyo, kahit pa matibay ang sagot o let us accept, let us agree dito sa mga pinagsasabi nitong chairwoman ng Kangaroo Court mga kaisyo, na kahit pa na madepensahan ng maayos itong mga akusasyon laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte, mga kaisyo, ang mangyayari ay still they will vote on sufficiency in grounds. At itutuloy pa rin ito sa plenaryo kahit na makapagdepensa pa ng maayos si Vice President Sara Duterte. That is because itong Kangaroo Court na tinatawag na House Committee on Justice has already made its decision. Niloloko lang tayo nito ng mga kongresista na to, mga kaisyo. The same way na pinagloloko tayo sa General Appropriation Act ng 2025, mga kaisyo, na nagdulot ng kontrobersiya sa flood control projects. So they are doing the same. They are doing it again. They are treating us ordinary Filipino people as idiots na akala nila na madali po tayong lukuhin. Again, to emphasize, itong ginagawa ng House Committee on Justice, they already have a decision. Regardless of how weak the evidence of the complainants are, they will still push it through. Itutuloy pa rin nila ito sa plenaryo. At of course, kung isa itong ating pag-usapan, mga kaisyo, dahil nag-release o nag-utos ng pag-release ng magkano ba yun? 12 billion si Bongbong Marcos. And I doubt that these funds ay gagamitin ito para sa impeachment ni Vice President Sara Duterte. That will be another topic. Abangan nyo po ang topic na yan, mga kaisyo, tungkol sa pag-release ng pondo, mga kaisyo. Nasabi ng Malacanang, nang sabi ng DBM, this is for mitigation daw sa epekto ng pagtaas ng presyo ng petroleum, produktong petrolyo. But in this case, ito, mga kaisyo, once this will reach the plenary, kung karamihan dyan na mga kongresista ay makatanggap ng malitang pera ulit, this will go into a full-blown trial. So pinagluloko tayo nitong House Committee Kangaroo Court na ito, mga kaisyo.
In the complaint, that is an opportunity to convince the justice members not to support the impeachment complaint, specifically in the determination of the existence of
Anong sabi dito,
They responded to the allegations in the complaint. That is an opportunity to convince the justice members
Opportunity to convince daw.
not to support the impeachment complaint, specifically in the determination of the existence of
Not to support the impeachment complaint. Ano sa tingin kaya ng mga to, mga kaisyo, mga gago tayo? Na ganun na lang kababa ang pag-iisip natin, na hindi natin maintindihan na itong ginagawa nila ay diluloko nila tayo, mga kaisyo? Is that what they are thinking, or is that what they think the Filipino or the mindset of the Filipino people?
sufficient ground. But since the answer was not responsive, it did not delve on the allegations of the offenses in the ground, it is as if the allegations in the complaint stands and were never rebutted. No? So for me, yes, it could have been the opportunity of the Vice President through her arguments to convince the justice members not to vote in favor of the impeachment complaint. It is a missed opportunity for me, Carmina.
Let's go through one by one, Congressman, what they have been saying through the Vice President's legal counsel, Attorney Michael Poa. Basically, they're saying they have an issue with regard to the constitutionality of the proceedings. Your reaction to that?
Yes, I think the people were able to witness how cautious the members of the Justice Committee were in the determination of form and substance. I heard also Attorney Poa commented that naging double standard kami in hearing the impeachment complaint against
Okay, di. Tatanggapin natin mga kesyo, cautious talaga sila. Nag-iingat talaga sila sa kanilang proceeding dyan sa Committee on Kangaroo Court. Let us accept. Tanggapin natin na talagang nag-iingat sila. They are cautious. But are they objective? Talaga bang tiningnan nila yung mga aligasyon, yung mga ebidensya? That's the problem with this Kangaroo Court na to, na House Committee on Justice. Dahil they are voting in accordance to their political affiliation, their political loyalty, not to the evidence at hand. Hindi kung ano ang mga nakalatag dyan ng mga ebidensya. Doon sila pumabor o ang kanilang pagpabor o ang kanilang pagboto is in favor doon sa kung sino ang nagbigay sa kanila ng mga mali-malitang pera.
against the president vis-a-vis the impeachment complaint against the vice president. But let me share to the viewing public, no? Saan nag-fail yung impeachment complaint against the president? It is because of the lack of evidence that shows the president personal participation in the offense alleged, no? Like for example,
Personal. Tuloy natin ha. Pakinggan natin itong palusot ni Kangaroo Court Chairman.
corruption. May allegation ng corruption. What evidence do the complainants have that support actually this allegation? The thing is, wala karmina Malayo no? Bagaman there is allegation, ang hinahanap ng justice members, yung personal involvement. Kasi
Mayroon ba personal involvement si Vice President Sara Duterte? Anong ebidensya nyo? Si Madriaga? Mayroon bang nakalagay doon sa kanyang, kahit lang, let us accept na yung affidavit ni Madriaga is talagang nilink niya ang Vice President Sara Duterte. Mayroon ba doon sa kanyang affidavit, sa kanyang salaysay? Though hindi pa po yan tinalakay mga kaisyo. Kasi yan ang kanilang pangunahin kasi tawag nito, witness laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Nakalagay ba doon? Or sa lahat ng as of now, evidence na nakapag-direct link kay Vice President Sara Duterte? Wala. Pero kay Bongbong Marcos, sa kanyang aligasyon na siya ang pangunahing culprit kung bakit ang pinakakurap na budget ng bansa, siya mismo pumirma doon sa pinakakurap na budget ng bansa, is that not a direct link? Yung akusasyon na siya ay nagbetray ng public trust dahil nilabag niya ang mga batas sa Pilipinas sa pagpatapon kay dating Pangulong Duterte doon sa ICC sa The Hague, is not that a direct link? That even the DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla admitted na sa kanilang group effort sangkot si Bongbong Marcos. Buisit.
pag nawala yung personal involvement, it will be very hard for the complainants to establish the factual nexus between the offense and the ground. Puntahan natin yung impeachment complaint against the Vice President. For purposes of illustration, let us consider the ground of the offense of threat to the life of the President. No? Nasaan yung personal participation doon? It was the President herself who were uttering those threats against the President, the First Lady, and the former
Yan mga kaisyo, that is their solid allegation laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. But take note po ha. Take note po, that is based on ang sinabi ni Vice President Sara Duterte ay conditional kung. Though let us admit na nagkamali si Vice President Sara Duterte during that time because of high emotion. Dahil naging emotional si Vice President Sara Duterte dahil sa kanyang Chief of Staff na kinulong doon sa House of Representatives. But if we will take it as a fact, we have also to question yung conditional statement na nakalagay doon sa kanyang statement na kung siya ay i-assassinate, kung siya, si Vice President Sara Duterte ay papatayin, mayroon siyang hinire. Damay-damay na ang lahat. But, are they were they able to establish itong mga nagreklamo? Were they able to establish na mayroon talagang hinire si Vice President Sara Duterte para pumatay kay Bongbong Marcos, kay Lisa Araneta Marcos, at kay Romualdez? Yan dapat ang matibay na ebidensya na dapat ipakita. Ang kanila lang ebidensya ay yung statement ni Vice President Sara Duterte. But in the rules of court, mga kaisyo, there should be circumstantial evidence. One thing, hindi or walang nangyaring assassination. You have to kill first the Vice President in order to prove your allegation.
Speaker. So, yung requirement ng personal involvement is there, is apparent, is visible. And that is why the complainant were able to connect this offense, the factual nexus na hinahanap ng justice members, to the ground.
Basura na yan basura na lang yan ito mga kaisyo. Palusot na lang ito ni Kangaroo Court Chair. Para ang taong bayan, kung maloko man, ang taong bayan ay kumampi sa kanilang basura Kangaroo Court na paraan ng pagdinig ng reklamo. Dito tayo mga kaisyo sa interview niya tungkol sa sufficient ebidensya. Tungkol sa evidence mga kaisyo, ito. Panoorin natin to.
Ma'am, hindi ho ba ang mga grounds po para po sa impeachment ni VP Sara kasama yung unexplained wealth at saka daw po yung violation sa SAL, hindi po ba?
That is correct, Manong Ted.
Okay. Ang claim po ng kampo ni VP Sara, na dito po sa aligasyon na ito, wala ngang ultimate facts. At ito nga daw po based on speculation and built on conclusion. Ano ho ang hawak ng komite based on the complaint na may nagpapatunay na totoo pong merong unexplained wealth ang BP at maging merong mga irregularidad sa kanyang SALN?
Well, right now, Manong Ted, ang hawak lang natin ay yung naging manifestation ni Congressman Ridon, if you remember, the 2 SALN which were shared during the determination of sufficiency in substance.
Yan ang ebidensya nila tungkol sa pagkamkam di umano na Vice President Sara Duterte ng unexplained wealth. Hindi mapaliwanag na mga kayamanan. Doon lang sa manifestation ni Ridon na hindi naman authenticated, di ba? Question niya ni Congressman Rodriguez na hindi authenticated yung yung SALN na dapat kung sila ay tatanggap ng ebidensya, dapat ito ay authenticated. Okay mga kaisyo, so patungo na po tayo sa pagtatapos. Now, dito tayo mga kaisyo sa sinabi ulit nitong si Kangaroo Court Chair Gerville Luistro. Nasabi niya dito mga kaisyo na ang impeachment ay magpapatuloy kahit mag-resign daw si Vice President Sara Duterte. Now, take note po mga kaisyo na kapag ang sinampahan nito ng impeachment ay yung nakaupo sa posisyon. So kung mag-resign si Vice President Sara Duterte bilang Vice Presidente, hindi na pwedeng ituloy ang impeachment proceedings dahil it will become a moot and academic kasi hindi na siya nakaupo. The point of the impeachment, mga kaisyo, for all of us to be educated, for all of us to be learned. Ang purpose ng impeachment is to unseat the person na nakaupo dyan sa posisyon, nakahawak dyan sa posisyon. Yan ang pangunahing layunin ng impeachment para matanggal sa pwesto kung sino man ang nakahawak sa pwesto na yan sa impeachable posisyon. Yan ang pangunahing layunin. Now, tayong taong bayan, na akala nitong si Luistro ay mga tonto, mga walang alam. Ang pangalawa kasi dito na maging consequences or penalty sa impeachable official is perpetual disqualification from holding office. Holding public office. Hindi na makatakbo, hindi na makahawak ng kahit anumang posisyon. Kahit na barangay tanod mga kaisyo. Kasi that is a public, no? Pwede ba public office? Chair, kapitan, hindi kapitan. Hepe ng mga barangay tanod mga kaisyo. Hindi na makahawak ng kahit anumang posisyon sa pamahalaan. Ito ang ultimate na goal nitong mga anti-Duterte faction. Bakit? Kasi alam nila na si Vice President Sara Duterte hahabulin itong mga tumatanggap ng bilyon-bilyong pera na mali-malitang hinatid sa kanila mga kaisyo. They will be prosecuted at walang sasantuhin si Vice President Sara Duterte pag siya ang maging presidente. Kaya gusto nila na kahit sa anumang paraan ay hindi na makakatakbo o makakaupo bilang Pangulo itong si Vice President Sara Duterte. That is the reason why instead of stopping the impeachment proceedings, take note po mga kaisyo, itong si Luistro ay hepe lang ng Kangaroo Court na Committee on Justice. Hindi siya speaker. So, pagkatapos kasi ng Committee on Justice mga kaisyo, ito po ay isa lang sa plenary ng House of Representatives, itong Crocodile Farm. Pag pumasa ito, makakuha ng 1/3, ito ay isasubmit na sa Senado. And the Senate is the Court of Impeachment or Impeachment Court. Ito na po ang didinig sa kaso ni Vice President Sara Duterte bilang impeachment court. So ano ang kapangyarihan at karapatan nitong si Luistro na magsabi na dapat ituloy pa rin ang impeachment proceeding kahit mag-resign si Vice President Sara Duterte? Who is she? Maliban na lang sa pagiging chairman ng Committee of Kangaroo Court of Justice mga kaisyo. Now, ating lang pong itatakol kasi ang isa kasing pinunto nitong si Luistro, nitong mga miyembro ng House Committee on Kangaroo Courts of Justice ng House of Representatives mga kaisyo ay itong, kasi sabi niya, hindi ko na lang naabutan dito sa video na to na kanyang sinabi mga kaisyo, na pwedeng halongkatin ng Kongreso ang bank accounts o mga bank accounts ni Vice President Sara Duterte na hindi lalabag sila sa RA 1405. Ito pinakita ko po sa inyo, ang bank secrecy law. At ang kanyang depensa ay kung bakit may karapatan o may kapangyarihan silang halongkatin at tingnan kung ano ang mga laman ng mga bank accounts si Vice President Sara Duterte by virtue of this Republic Act, dahil nakalagay kasi dito sa exemption, nakalagay sa exemption mga kaisyo on section 2, sabi dito, all deposits of whatever nature with banks or banking institutions in the Philippines, including investment in bonds issued by the government of the Philippines, its political subdivision and instrumentalities are hereby considered as of an absolutely confidential nature and may not be examined, inquired, or looked into by any person, government official, bureau, or office except, ito mga kaisyo, ang depensa ni Luistro, kung bakit daw pwede nilang buksan ang mga bank accounts ni Vice President Sara Duterte except upon written permission of the depositor or in cases, take note, in cases of impeachment. Is that automatic? We'll see. Diyan makikita natin mga guys, kung talagang may kapangyarihan itong Committee on Justice, Kangaroo Court, aka Kangaroo Court, na busisiin at tingnan ang laman ng mga bank accounts ni Vice President Sara Duterte by this exemption ng RA 1405. Dito tayo mga kaisyo magtapos sa sagot nitong si Kangaroo Court Chair Luistro mga kaisyo dito sa Newswatch Plus PH.
How crucial is her presence at this stage?
Well, that will be very significant for her to witness up close and personal the evidence which will be presented by...
Tungkol ito mga kaisyo sa pagdalo na inimbitahan si Vice President Sara Duterte at dapat daw siyang dumalo sa maging hearing kasi pumasa na as sufficient in grounds yung impeachment complaint laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte at inimbitahan sa unang pagdinig which is March 25 sa Wednesday. Pero sabi kasi sa ibang interview ni Luistro ay hindi pa matatawag po nating dinggin yung mga ebidensya. Pero kung magsalita daw si Vice President Sara Duterte at dadalo sa March 25 ay pagsalitain daw nitong Kangaroo Court mga kaisyo or Committee on Justice ng House of Representatives. Yan ang sabi ni Gerville Luistro na kung wala si Speaker, walang ayuda.
The complainant, no? Of course, this is significant because she needs to counter, to rebut, to question the evidence of the complainant so as to provide basis for the members of the Justice Committee in not voting in favor of the impeachment complaint, no? Otherwise, if she will not avail of this opportunity, she will not participate in the hearing proper, she will not rebut, she will not challenge, she will not refute the evidence of the complainant, then the evidence of the complainant will stand. And the possibility is the justice member might vote in favor of the finding of probable cause, no? So
Issue 101. Senior Simon.
So yan mga kaisyo, pinag-usapan natin yung Kangaroo Court na yan mga kaisyo. Dahil obvious na isang Kangaroo Court itong House Committee on Justice. And of course, kasi sinabing na inimitahan nila si Vice President Sara Duterte at sabi ni Kangaroo Court Chair Gerville Luistro na ito daw ay opportunity ni Vice President Sara Duterte na sagutin yung mga akusasyon laban sa kanya. But as what I've mentioned earlier, para sa mga na-late po, hindi po kayo mag-replay na lang, na dahil hostile itong Kangaroo Court na Committee on Justice mga kaisyo ng House of Representatives, kahit ano pang depensa, kahit ano pa katibay ang depensa o maging depensa ni Vice President Sara Duterte, they have already made their mind. Mayroon na po silang desisyon. And it is very useless and waste of time for the Vice President to attend such hearing na ang miyembro ng Committee on Justice or Kangaroo Court ng House of Representatives mga kaisyo have already made their mind. Mayroon na po silang naging desisyon. So wala pong kwenta. Aksaya lang po ng panahon.
Issue 101.
At dyan po nagtatapos ang live stream natin ngayon dito sa ating palatuntunan ang
Issue 101.
abangan po ang susunod natin na mga talakayan. Mayroon po tayong gawing live stream mamaya. So just watch. Antayan nyo lang po mga kaisyo. Just make sure na nag-like po kayo sa video na to para sa YouTube kung sakasakali it will be recommended to you. At mas mabuti kung nakapag-subscribe po kayo sa YouTube channel natin or kaya bibisatahin nyo lang po sana ang ating Facebook at ang ating X. Doon mag-post po tayo kung magkaroon po tayo ng live stream. Kasi hindi pa po natin tukoy at hindi pa po ako sure kung anong oras po pag-usapan natin ang ating isang topic pa. Pag-usapan natin yung nai-release na magkano ba yun ha? Sandali lang ha. Buksan ko yung ito. Yung inutusang buksan mag-release ng 21.47 billion na pondo mga kaisyo. Inutusan, nag-release na, pero ang rason para daw maibsan yung epekto ng pagsipa ng presyo ng produktong petrolyo. Yan ang ating pag-usapan mga kaisyo sa susunod natin na talakayan, sa susunod natin na live stream. Ito po muna ang inyong lingkod na si pansamantala po munang mamahalan para sa ating palatuntunan ng tandaan, mas lamang ang may alam. Bye-bye!
At yan ang Issue 101. Ang hilin natin sa mga kinauukulan ay umaksyon. Hanggang sa susunod, maraming salamat sa inyong pagsubaybay.